So before getting started with this video, I have to do a formal announcement that me, Oblique Shock, is just a unemployed 20-year-old, and I am not a part of Falun Gong, its religion or its American-based organization. Why I'm saying this is that my topic in this video will cover organ harvesting and illegal organ trafficking. And if you know a bit of modern Chinese history, especially the history within Jiang Zeming's administration, you might know that this religion has accused and is still accusing China for a lot of different crimes. One of the forefront crimes is the illegal removal of organs of prisoners that is imprisoned because that they are a believer of Falun Gong. I am also not a YouTuber making or trying to make money on bashing the country, such as these two, as well as this guy. He has such a stupid face. Dang! What I am is a neutral person. I want to tell things in neutral perspectives. But look, I only got 16 subs at the moment, so I don't really need to be extremely politically correct or whatever, but I want to be transparent with anyone that clicks on this video, and that is the standard that I want to hold myself to. So okay, now with that out of the way, we can finally talk about organ transplants and illegal organ transplant. What the actual fuck is going on? Let's get into it. So let's get straight into today's topic. Do you know Red Note, or as it's known in China, 小红书? Think of it like Instagram, but with a better algorithm, I would say. And in early 2025, after a whole TikTok shutdown drama, a wave of Western influencers, especially Americans, moved over to Red Note as a protest. Suddenly, people from outside of China got a raw look at how everyday life in China was, something that hasn't really been seen by the general public before. And honestly, the app's algorithm feels even stickier than Instagram's, and it pulls you in and keeps you scrolling even longer. So I tend to avoid it, but I have been a somewhat sporadic user since summer 2023. But like every other social media platform, Red Note has its darker corners, I would say, and I've seen a few and far between videos that are strange, mysterious, or horrific. And there are rabbit holes as well. But, well, as you know, it's a Chinese platform, so the moderation is tighter. But the weirdness is still there in some videos. About a month ago, I stumbled onto one of these rabbit holes, or shall I say, rabbit ditch, or whatever, because it's not that deep as of yet. But I would want to talk about this in this video, and it was just an older man talking into the camera. And I almost forgot about him. But recently, when I heard the leaked translation or the leaked conversation between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin about eternal life and organ transplants, this instantly brought it back into my mind, because what he claims about the fate of his son lines up exactly with those themes. Let's get right into his story. I will have his Xiaohongshu account linked or written in the description, but if you go over there, please don't spam or be disrespectful to this old man. So let's break down this man's account, and I will call him Zhao Sr. And his page is quite simple and almost repetitive. Most of his videos are coming in two formats. One is that you see his face framed a bit awkwardly from below. In those clips, he repeats the same message again and again, that organ harvesting is a crime and it goes against basic human rights. There's also other styles of videos and also other things that he says. Sometimes he's holding up a red banner, calling out about that the country is at a critical moment, and that he talks about that people have to stand up for the truth and justice and for the nation. Almost like he's walking a fine line between half making patriotic statements but also half hinting at something darker. For me, from the way he talks, it feels like he's trying to say something about his son, but possibly that he cannot because of the moderation of Xiaohongshu. he has also uploaded other posts about his other main account being banned. So what happened to his son? The more you scroll down, you can actually see text formats, posts, and that talks about something that happened in April 2022. And those posts gives a lot more detail, a clear story of what actually happened. Let's look at it. The story of his son took place in Xi'an's Chanba ecological district, an area in the eastern part of Xi'an city, which has been transformed from a polluted industrial zone into a recognized green zone, established in 2004. So, Zhao Sr.'s son, named Zhao Yun, and here's the first problem, that Zhao Yun happens to share the exact same name as one of the most famous and legendary generals in Chinese history. So for Chinese people, the name is instantly recognizable. It's almost like saying Julius Caesar. So when Zhao Sr. tried to have hashtags about his son, it's almost impossible to separate the tragedy of his son from the legendary figure. On April 21st, 2022, Zhao Yun posted a very strange WeChat moment. And this part is quite unclear because we only have the father's description of it and screenshots. And the post was made in 1739. But when he later checked his deceased son's phone records, he could notice that something suspicious has happened. Earlier the same day in 1421, there had been a login from a Vivo phone, even though his son uses iPhone. The WeChat post itself was deeply unsettling. I have not seen the video, only screenshots and the father's explanation. In it, Zhao Yun said that there was a man with the surname He had sent people to follow him, to stalk him. Zhao Yun claimed that he had fought back and beat up the stalker. And then he added something truly eerie, that he said that he is waiting for He in Yingjian, the underworld, or the afterlife. Naturally, this terrified the father, and Zhao Sr. called his son repeatedly for the next 2 hours, but there was no answer. Then came the notice from the authorities that his son has died. Authorities told Zhao Sr. where to go to a facility where the bodies are kept and examined. The police first reported to Zhao Sr. that his son has fallen from the bridge, most likely trying to unalive himself. The coroner confirmed the cause of death as falling from a great height, but 2 years later, strangely, in 2024, the official story suddenly changed and the cause of death was changed to drowning. They claimed that he jumped off the bridge, landed in the water and drowned. But Zhao Sr. noticed something strange. On the day his son died, the river water level was extremely low, so low that some parts of the riverbed was exposed. This detail makes him question everything. From a 20-meter jump, his son has no broken bones or broken organs. What he did notice from his son's body was a skull fracture, but that was never mentioned in the police doctor's report. And the autopsy itself, Zhao Sr. said that it was conducted in complete secrecy without informing the family. This part I'm not really sure who decides to do the autopsy in real life either, so I'm not sure if it's just him being confused, because I actually think that police have a authority to do autopsy without informing the family. But what was strange was that the son's body was cremated without his consent later. For Zhao Sr. and many people that have followed the case online, these details are deeply unsettling. The inconsistency, the secrecy, and the unanswered questions are all over. And darkest of them all is, where did his son's organs go? Because Zhao Sr. is claiming that his son's organs were taken out of his body during autopsy, and after the cremation, the organs are kept by the authorities. The authorities explained to him that there was no more use or no more need to keep his son's body in the morgue, and that was the reason of the cremation, but no one explained to him why there was a need for keeping the organs. So this is the premise, and after that he has tried to make different videos on RedNote, and he has also posted different screenshots of some of his posts getting banned and the warnings that he has gotten from RedNote, as well as a recent screenshot of him what it looks like a police station. But he continues to make video as of September 2025. China officially announced in 2015 that it had stopped using organs from executed prisoners and that all transplants would now come from voluntary donations. But of course questions still remain and suspicions still come up when mysterious deaths and disappearances are reported. Take the case of Hu Xingyu as example. A junior high school student in Jiangxi, he disappeared from his school in October 2022. Authorities launched a massive search combining every camera in the area and a lot of interviews, yet 100 days later his body was found right near the school grounds, rotting. The official ruling was suicide as well. But that case sparked a storm of rumors. Radio Free Asia reported during the same period, October and November 2022, more than 10 teenagers around the same age went missing across the entire country. And that's where the conspiracy theory starts. Some online voices claim that the disappearances were linked to organ harvesting for none other than former Chinese leader Jiang Zemin, who was dying at the time and passed away in November 2022. It's a wild theory and there's no real proof, but it shows how quickly people can connect the dots when so many disappearances happen. But also disappearances can happen everywhere in the world, but a cluster of them all at once naturally makes people uneasy. Whether this ties into the organ trafficking or not can never be determined, and it is quite a far-fetched theory in my opinion, but honestly it could be its own separate video. And there's another story that surfaced online in early 2022. A Bilibili user posted a video of what he described as a rural factory area somewhere in China. Inside he filmed a water reservoir, and in it he claimed he saw what looked like bodies, human bodies, many of them were children. He returned twice more, filming follow-up videos, but after the third upload his channel suddenly vanished. A few weeks later the channel reappeared, but those 3 videos were gone. The disappearance of the content fueled many speculations, and many will draw a conclusion that connects the bodies to something darker, possibly organ harvesting. But there is no verification, of course, and those videos are gone. But the story has spread widely, and I suggest anybody that is interested to search up these videos on YouTube, because there are much larger YouTubers covering it in great detail. Back to Zhao Sr. On his Xiaohongshu's page, many users keep tagging the outlets, such as Elephant News or even People's Daily, trying to draw attention. But let's be realistic here, major state media would never cover this. If there is any chance of a wider awareness, it might come from Chinese language outlets outside of the mainland, such as Taiwan, Malaysia or Singapore. I think that's where the Mandarin-speaking world outside of the mainland could pick this up and talk about it more openly. Zhao Sr.'s story is the most painful human experience out there, the endless grief of a father who has lost his son. And yet through all this he continues to write and speak and to push for the truth, and I can only hope that someday he finds resolution, even though right now for me it feels so far away. And I will end this video with something different, and this is something that is very commonly occurring in his videos comment section, and it is people that are leaving words not just to show support but to shield this account from censorship and monitoring, because the words are not random, they are slogans. The words are the core socialist values. Prosperity, democracy, civility and harmony are the value goals at the national level. Freedom, equality, justice, and rule of law are the value orientations at the social level. Dedication, integrity, and friendliness are the values at the individual citizen level. Ironic, to say the least. thank you. Subscribe and comment and like, and more is coming on the iceberg and whatever else.